Hello adventurers and welcome back to my channel. Can you believe it has been a very long time since I released a Demon Hunter PvP build video? The last one was a meta strafe with a couple different variants. I didn't want to rush releasing a new video because of the nerfs and the buffs and all the changes that always happen with Demon Hunter essences. So I wanted to stabilize. I wanted to see what other people were going to come up with as well, how the meta played out. But I'm pleased to present this new build video called Phantom Knives. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, please consider subscribing. It really does help out the channel. I appreciate everyone for the likes, the comments, and subscribes. So if you want to learn more about Phantom Knives Demon Hunter, stick around because this video is for you. Before we get too far into the build, I want to just make a quick comment that these pieces, especially the set pieces, aren't set in stone. If you feel like you need more shield and more uptime of staying on target in melee range, you may want to drop Urge completely and run 4 pieces of Mount Bank. You could also decide to drop the Urge pieces for Feasting Barons for longer escape lockout on your anti-dash and the immobilize. The main hand could be changed from Death Appended to another main hand. The offhand of Quillrat's Dilemma could be changed to the Thud. It could be changed to another Impale Essence like Puncta Obscura. There's just a lot of different options based on the meta and how your region plays. For example, if I feel like I need more healing debuff to kill a target, I may swap out Quillrat's Dilemma for Puncta Obscura. If I feel like I need more passive critical hit chance, Puncta Obscura definitely is going to help with Idle Clear, but because of the Blood Flow passive when they're gem procs, I don't rely too much on the passive, so I'm still running Quillrat's Dilemma. For the build, I am running Best Discretion, Escalating Violence, Unblemished Hide, Contagious Misery, Preferred Instrument, Chats of the Acrobat, Death Appended, Quillrat's Dilemma. And for my set pieces, I am running 4 pieces of Gloomguide's Prize, 2 pieces of Vithu's Urge, and 2 pieces of Untouchable Mount Banks. My gems, I'm running Bottled Hope, Roiling Consequence, Blood-Soaked Jade, Concentrated Will, Blood Flow, Colossus Engine, Frozen Heart, and Spectre Glass. For my gems, I have a mix of Topaz, Citrines, Aquamarines, and Sapphires. So I have a pretty balanced stat sheet. Before, it was really worth stacking armor as a Demon Hunter, but with Chaps of the Acrobat, we can stack less armor and resistance in favor for more potency and more armor penetration now. As far as the magic affixes go on the gear, this is where it's going to vary greatly based on how you play, based on your region and how it plays, and based on the classes that make up the majority of your battlegrounds. If you have more Barb and Monk heavy battlegrounds, you may want to stack more accuracy to 30% to push through the evasion rating. You want to ensure that the cooldown reduction is capped at 30% as close as possible. Mine's only at 24% at the moment. And when we look at the enchants, there's a couple different enchants that we want to use. Impale 2 out of 4 to 3 out of 4. It helps with the additional blades. So this one will greatly impact how many blades you can impale into the enemy. You can also run the escape affixes, accuracy rating, like I said, evasion rating, control skill recovery cooldown for knockback shot. There's just a lot of different affixes to run. As of this writing, I am currently running 3 out of 4 escape, 3 out of 4 impale, 2 out of 4 evasion, 1 out of 4 endure, and then 2 out of 4 restrain. You can mix and match these a little bit, maybe dropping an escape shield, maybe running more evasion. It all depends again on your region, how you like to play Demon Hunter, how others like to combat your playstyle, how the meta plays in your region, and what you're dying to or what you're feeling your Demon Hunter is lacking. So there are a lot of different options to choose from. Choose whatever works best for you. Change things out until it feels okay. And then it may be more evasion. It may be less evasion. It may be more escape affix. It may be more control skill recovery cooldown. So just change your build based on how your region plays, and keep changing pieces out until it feels okay. For my Reforges, I'm running all offensive Reforges. These are all the exact same ones. Skill damage, critical hit damage, damage taken from players reduced, attack speed, and damage to players increased. If you feel like you need a little bit more survivability, you can always run to a defensive Reforge with barrier Reforges. But in my opinion, I think attack Reforges or all damage is the best. For my curse properties, I'm running 6-piece Detested, 2-piece Tortured. You could probably run 6-piece Tortured if you want. However, with the dash lockout on Escalating Violence, I don't feel like I need Tortured lockout. So 6-piece Detested gives me the most damage while I'm in melee range of everyone, which helps with idle clear. For your Paragon tree, I'm running Cheat Death, Swift Strikes, To the Victor, Grizzled Veteran, and Juggernaut. For my legendary skill, I'm using Curse of Weakness. This helps with sustaining and applying debuff on the enemy to reduce their damage so you can live a little bit longer. This is my choice. My second choice might be Soul Harvester, but in my testing, Curse of Weakness feels the best. For the skills, your primary attack doesn't really matter too much, so just choose whatever you decided to run for your other main hand, whether it's Explosive Arrow, whether it's Crossbow Shot. This really doesn't matter too much. But you do want to run Daring Swing, Escape, Impale, and Knockback Shot. How does this build play? This build requires a lot of strategy and patience compared to the Spin to Win variants and the meta of Strafe that we've had for over a year now. I will say that this is probably one of the most finesse and skill heavy builds out of all the Demon Hunter builds I've ever played, because it requires a lot of precision and timing to make this build work. The reason I say that is because this forces the Demon Hunter to push in the melee range, which is typically something we don't do. So stacking shields and evasion is super critical to making this build work. Also, the timing of your skills once you push in greatly impacts the outcome of this build. Third, it depends on whether you land your control abilities when you push in. And then fourth, landing the last control abilities, which is your knockback shot, to dislodge the blades. So what does that look like? It looks like this. You push in, you escape through the enemy, you pop your impale, you backpedal, and then you use your knockback shot. So the initial escape locked them out of being able to move. You pop your impale to embed the knives, and then you can either move back or stay in the same spot and then use your knockback shot. I personally like to just go through them, impale, run back, and then knockback shot. That typically helps me land most of the damage because sometimes they run away in the opposite direction. That usually works best for me. However, there's plenty of bloopers and there's plenty of times on stream where I completely miss my knockback shot, which is absolutely terrible. Here we are in the training grounds, and I want to show you kind of what it looks like. So we will spawn some training dummies here. Okay, so the opener, like I said, is you escape to immobilize, impale, and then you use the knockback shot. So that is the duration, or that is exactly the combination of skills that you want to use. Escape, impale, knockback shot. Escape, impale, knockback shot. And the reason this does a lot of damage is when you use Impale, it embeds 4 knives. In PvP, you don't see the 4 knives here, so we'll exit real fast, and I will show you what that looks like at the training dummy in here. So you'll see 4. The last icon that has the 4 is the 4 Impales. That's where the damage comes from. So if you saw all that damage really fast, that's how this build does with burst damage and the escape. So it's actually crazy amount of damage that you can do in a very short time, which is why I say 2 cycles, most time players are dead. Sometimes whales take 3 or 4, but that's how much damage you can do. It's a lot. The damage comes from the new main hand. Impale now throws a fan of 8 knives around you, each dealing 46,000 damage, embedding themselves into the flesh of nearby enemies. When an enemy is knocked back, the embedded knives will dislodge, sending them in random directions, dealing 90,000 additional damage to enemies they hit. Enemies struck multiple times take 50% reduced damage from subsequent hits. So every time you dislodge a blade, you can embed 4 blades at a time in each enemy. They will receive 90,000 damage for the first blade, and then 45,000 damage for each subsequent blade. Also, take damage from your knockback shot. So, embedding 4 blades, you fire 4 piercing blasts. In combination, you can clear an entire idol or objective, most of the time in 1 to 2 durations or 1 to 2 cycles of escape, impale, and knockback shot. Most players will die in 2 cycles. Some of the whales will take 3 or 4. So we will see that in a couple clips later and some of the gameplay footage, what I mean by this. This clip is a great example of the cohesion between all of your affixes like evasion, escape, impale, mount bank, your shields, curse of weakness, and just overall cohesion of this build. So this is a great example. Please enjoy. You can really see how I use escape to proc my shields as well as the immobilize. I continuously am popping my impale to embed the knives. My knockback shot once off a cooldown. I just keep hitting escape just to keep my shields up as much as possible. And that's going to do it for this video. Please let me know down in the comments below what you think of the build, what set pieces you run. Are you running the new Calamitous Escape Shoulders? Are you running the Silent String variant of Impale? I personally like the Phantom Knives, so this is why I've showcased this video, but I recognize that this build is not for everyone due to the high technical inputs that's required, as well as possibly the resonance and secondary gems required to make this build really shine. But I'm curious to learn what you guys all think about this build. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And in typical channel fashion, let's see this build in action with a little montage featuring Convoy and normal Battlegrounds. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.